Obviously, just a unique week. Last week was, coming off of a bye week, very complete game for us. To go on the road and to play the way we did. And I mean that from the way we started to the way we finished in all phases of the game. So creating and building that momentum that we keep talking about is a big deal to us. This week is a unique week just because I don't think we've played a Friday night game other than maybe the last game of the season last year. But a Friday night game that, it requires you to change up and adjust a little bit of your schedules. I keep saying it, that we haven't had many normal weeks. I think maybe one normal week, meaning what's the schedule that you get into. So another one that's a little bit different. We've kind of changed some things up this week. We've actually practiced on Monday night. On Tuesday night we'll practice, because of the weather a bit, and also that we're going to be playing at night, and it's a little bit early for us. So I think it's what's best for our kids, and I think that's the most important thing. A little bit more difficult on the coaches, coming in early for early morning meetings and then not getting on the field till probably 7:15, and then getting off the field at 9:30, and then having to go up and watch the film, and then back in the next morning at 6:30. It's, makes it difficult, but I think for our kids, the situation is what it calls for. So we're excited about this weekend.
You've talked so much about handling emotions and feelings at these kind of stages. Do you have confidence that the team's ready for this kind of moment?
Yeah, I mean, this last week showed us. And I don't mean it was a huge stage, and some guys were asking about, hey, what's the storyline here? What's storyline? It's, pop on the film from 2 years ago. There's the greatest storyline you got. But it is an environment last weekend that was, one that's exciting. They do a great job at home with their fans and things like that. This one obviously is going to be different, but it's continued for us to, to have this opportunity and enjoy it too. I think that's what we keep trying to remind these guys, that, we haven't had maybe some of these stages where last year against UCF, this year against UCLA. The environment, the atmosphere are things that you love about college football, and finding the way to enjoy them as opposed to them putting more pressure on you, which in return sometimes it makes it more difficult for you to respond.
Yeah, Dad said that he kind of felt like after the Miami game that they didn't really enjoy the win because is that just from an expectation from the program change?
If I could stand up here and tell you, I probably wouldn't be coaching. I would be just go ahead and be a consultant and a psychologist. And I said the same thing to the guys when we kind of after that game and that during the bye week, that it's really hard to just pinpoint one thing. Hey, if we do this, everything will change. But it was different. It wasn't the enjoyment. It wasn't the pure joy that I think that we love so much about this game. And I don't care if it's high school, I don't care if it's college. I'm sure it's similar at the next level. And in order to continue to fight through these grinds and do what it is you do, there's got to be that pure joy, whatever that is. Hopefully it's in competing. Obviously it's a lot of times in winning, but the pure joy to what it is that we work so hard for.
You talked after the Ohio State game about maybe wishing you could have done the approach a little bit different. Are you doing anything different this week from your perspective?
That might be something completely different as far as the approach. No, I think that I'm kind of happy that we play on a Friday. It's different, it's unique, but I think that just gets us right back into things a little bit quicker, and maybe make us be a little bit smarter with our guys going into this week. We've played at home on a big stage in the first week. This will be obviously another huge stage for us, but I still think it comes down to playing the game. And the preparation being a little bit shorter, I think helps us in just some of the mind things, to not wishing away the week just so we can get to that opportunity in that moment. It's going to come pretty quick because of a Friday night. So keeping us focused in what we're doing for the entire week is not as difficult, I'd say.
Aside from the night practice, what is the short week? Is there something you do less of, or something different out of order?
We'll see. It's a little bit out of order. Normally we go on Tuesday and Wednesday as our big days. You want to be able to rest. You want to be able to enjoy last weekend. But the reality is we didn't have a long time to enjoy it. So we didn't go on Sunday, gave them off. Then we went on Monday night because it's a lot about the prep for coaches too. We don't want to just cram things in. And so our ability to get our kids everything that they need, not just for the game, but to practice and not cramming it in, I think was kind of one of those other reasons why I think uniquely we said, hey, let's go ahead and practice later to give us an opportunity. Maybe our kids have a little bit more time off. And then obviously the rest of the week will be a little bit more unique too. Probably got to get rid of almost like your Thursday practice in some way just because of that day early.
The touchdown that Nippert had where he recovered the fumble, did you guys look at that on the tape when you guys met on Sunday as another
I mean, it's a learning thing. Obviously, it's really nice when you can learn from the things that you do and in a positive way. For them defensively, I'm sure they showed it and said, hey, this is why we go after every ball. It's why we scoop up every ball. The week before, we took a couple, probably 5 clips from an earlier game, from some mistakes that guys made and it cost them maybe a game. To learn from them, that was one right there that we pulled out. That was not a mistake, but something on our side. That was a heads-up play, really smart play, a very aggressive play that we can learn from. And obviously, we made the example that Josiah, what an incredible play, but the emphasis was to the defense as well to say, hey, this is why we're so adamant about when the ball's on the ground. I don't care if in practice the ball's on the ground, you scoop it, make them make a call. So, there were some learning lessons for us too. The ball, obviously, and some of those bounce your way, but you also create that too when you're aggressive.
You're being smart. You guys had 7, I think, penalties in the first half, and then not very much in the second half. Did you guys talk about that at halftime versus adjustments?
No, we didn't. I can sit here and tell you that no, we're not perfect, and we didn't do a lot better job. We didn't have our average, which was good because we need that average to come down. But I can tell you that a few of those penalties were more of the aggressive penalties. So in some ways, the hands on the guy on the line of scrimmage, we're going to jam him. I think it was maybe a bad call. They called holding. It's not holding. Now, it might be PI because the ball was thrown pretty quick and his hand was still on him. But in some of those ways, those are aggressive penalties. The ones that, we got called maybe in the first half for a couple of the false starts and things like that are still the ones that we're making the emphasis that we got to get rid of.
Coach, with the short week, how much of an advantage is not having to deal with travel, and how much can travel take out of the team?
I don't know. Sometimes it's nice going on the road. You kind of just get your 70 people. You don't have to worry nearly as much about, some of the other things, maybe tickets in a game, an environment like this. So I think it can work either way. For us, obviously, it helps us a little bit just with the timing things. We can spend a little bit more time, both players and coaches. Our Friday, which will be a Thursday, the day before a game, we get to get in our normal routine where the guys get the morning off, players and coaches. If you're traveling, you got to get in early because, those 3 or 4 hours of travel time. So I don't know. I mean, it can be either direction. I think you got to use it in what, in the routine that you do and whatever's best for your program.
Coach, do you think this is the biggest game of the year?
It is to this date. And guess what? Last week, Marshall was the biggest game of the year. Next week, Houston will be the biggest game of the year. That's like you said, when you talk about storylines, hopefully we can try to help our guys to understand that it's a process. And every game is, I know, uniquely different, but every game is really important. And yes, it's UCF. Yes, it's a Friday night. Yes, it's the opening of our conference for us, which makes it more and more important. But the reality is it's another one game. And most importantly, we got to continue to see ourselves grow. And I think that last week and the bye week and even the Miami week, we've seen the growth that maybe we didn't have. And I don't mean just on Saturday, just on the film. I mean on the energy of the program, the joy to the things that we're doing. So, yes, it's big, but when you come in here next week, I'm going to say the same thing. It's going to be another big week.
You brought up with Marshall, people looking for storylines. Just watching the tape from 2 years ago. Do you use last year's tape in Orlando
Yeah.
as motivation?
If you need motivation for games like these, then, we're probably struggling a little bit. But we do. Of course we do. And it's not just for motivation. We use it to learn. Learn how we handle some of the emotion things, how we handle adversity. Also, a lot of what they did, how they attacked us. They're a unique offense and they're a unique defense. And a lot of the things that they did last year that they were very successful with, I would think that we'll see a bunch more of it.
Is there anything with McKenzie Milton being out that they do different than they did last year?
I think McKenzie Milton was unique in what he does. I think they're different based on whatever quarterback they have in the game. They still have their core. They're a very, very, very good running football team. And I think everybody sees and hears and talks about the bombs and the shots and the throws down the field, but everything is set up because of the offensive line and their ability to run the football. And so are they that much different? They all throw a really good deep ball. And I think that's one of those things that's in their system that's very unique. Depending on who's at quarterback, maybe a little bit more of a run based on a quarterback run, based on who's in there. So, and they've still got the options of 3 different guys. So I think that they keep you balanced and not exactly knowing. But the system is the system, and whoever's going to be back there is going to be able to run it in their own unique little different ways.
AU was a team that you guys prepared a little differently for because what you're going to see. Is the speed of UCF, is that something you guys do anything different for? Is there anything you can do to prepare for that?
You know, if you're trying to just prepare for it on the week of, it's probably too late. And I think that, you know, a lot of the things that we see now are tempo. Now, I don't know if anybody's quite the tempo that UCF is, so it's very hard to simulate. But those are the things that you were really doing as much in camp and in your preseason as anything. You know, because really when you come down to the week, okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to emphasize on the tempo, or do we actually want to emphasize on the things that they're going to be doing? So, you know, we did a lot of that stuff in camp. We did a lot of that stuff against our offense with the fast pace. We'll do a little bit of it this week, but it's still going to kind of, in a short week, and some things you got to figure out a little bit better job of just making sure you're doing the things that you sometimes assume that you're going to get.
What about just pure on-field speed? Is it noticeably different with them than it is with other teams you guys face?
Yeah, I mean, at the skill position and at the running back position, it's, you know, I don't know if we've seen maybe some of it. I'm not saying we hadn't, but I think across the board it is unique. Again, it's kind of hard. That's why preseason is so important, is your ability to get that fastball pace against each other. During the week, we'll go against each other. Not a ton. The defenses and offenses aren't as similar, so it's a little bit harder during the week to kind of say, hey, let's go fastball against each other, just so we can see the speed of things. But every week we have those sets where no matter who we're playing, no matter what they do, it's good on good. And the reason for that is just the speed, not the tempo, but the speed of what our wideout guys are going to see at the DB spot, what our DB guys are going to see at the wideout spots.
Do you have an update on Jeremy Cooper?
No, I don't know exactly what they're going to do with him and where he's at just yet.
Gotcha. It's October. I know we keep talking about it, but it seems like you guys have a different offensive line, you know, every week. I mean, how tough has that been for you guys to get?
It's hard to get into a rhythm. I think that was one of those things last year that we were so fortunate. You know, obviously Garrett broke his leg, but other than that, we were, from the time we probably figured out where we were going to be in camp, you know, probably the second or third week of camp last year, we didn't have to make any adjustments. And that's one of those fortunate things. Now, you know, we've had to make a lot of adjustments, for young guys and also for some injuries. So just another one of those things you got to kind of shuffle around, and what makes it difficult even in a short week, but in general, of just finding that combination to continue to give yourself the confidence to go out there and play fast.
Is this team hungry to prove themselves against a top 25 team on national TV, especially with what happened when you guys played a ranked team earlier this year?
I mean, we're always hungry, hopefully, to prove ourselves. I told them last week, I said, I think there's about 90% of college football is somewhere in this box, meaning talent level, you know, all the different things. There's 5% that are probably way above and maybe 5% that are below. Everything else is in this box of 90%, and what it comes down to are how hungry our guys, how motivated our guys, what kind of energy and momentum are in those programs, and you see the ones that start to excel. And whether that means, hey, we got to go prove ourselves, the reality is if you're not hungry to play the game and compete, regardless of who it is, it makes it really difficult to enjoy it.
With the confidence going into this week, traveling against a top 25 team, did you guys gain a lot of it from going into Marshall on the road and being
I don't know. I mean, again, what I see in our program is, I felt it after Marshall, and we started to get a little bit throughout the bye week that we maybe didn't have, was just a true, pure joy and excitement, not just for winning, but also for being together and competing. And you can get a lot of confidence from things like that. It's not going to be perfect Friday night. We know it's going to be a battle. We want to make it a battle. We want to make it to get ourselves to those situations and enjoy competing and not worry about the outcomes of things, because, you know, it's about the process.
How excited are you just to see the environment? They broke a record with student tickets with the UCLA night game. Sounds like they're trending upwards there. I mean, how excited are you to see
Not just me, but I think our entire program. Those are the things that we enjoy. When we came here, we wanted these opportunities, not just these opportunities to play against a great team, but these opportunities for our campus, for our university, to make these events, you know, where everybody, especially the people on campus, the students in particular, want to be there and make it exciting and make it an event. And when you can do that, yeah, we benefit incredibly as a program, because I told you it's about energy and momentum, and what you get from your student body and your home crowd is a big part of it.
I know you're focused on UCF, offseason to maybe talk to Mike or people on the admin about issues like the transfer stuff or now the new California bill where players may be able to profit off their name and likeness? Do you have a time in the offseason where you try to understand those issues so you can?
Yeah, we talk about them. We will. I mean, obviously that's a new one that's come up. We haven't addressed it or talked about it last year. We talked a bit about the transfers, and it started with grad transfers and on to other transfers, and always trying to look at it at how it affects our program both positively and negatively. Because I want him in particular, to always be on the understand what it is we're doing. We've got a plan for what we're doing, and the way we're building the program and the way we're growing the program, and those things are a big effect, whether it's transfers, portal, or maybe this thing that could be a possibility within the next 3 years, will probably be something we address this summer.
Do you keep up with any of that stuff as it's going on, or you shut it down?
I don't keep up real well with a lot of those things. I think we've said that before, that I get mad at the guys for looking at their phones too often. I say, why do you look at? Well, we're just getting our updates. I said, well, if we drop a bomb or we go to war, my wife will call me. Anything else happens, I'm sure my wife will call me. That's probably where I get most of my information.